fight struck. Guys in the 2 and 6. Guys in the 2 and 6 in UFC.
And you'll be
I'll
come and slap you.
To a standing ovation, the 47th President of the United States of America.
How's it going, everyone? I hope you guys are all well. Welcome back to the channel. So obviously last night we saw a great event, UFC 314. Now obviously I'm more of the boxing fan. That's the way it's always been for me. However, I am getting a lot more into the UFC. And whenever nowadays there's a big fight or big event, there's a very good chance that I will tune in. So tuned in last night for UFC 314 and really enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot of fighters on that card that I knew. I've seen them fight before, and there was a lot of hype about it as well. Obviously, I think the issue with UFC right now is I think that they are looking for that next superstar. You look at some of the guys that, a lot of us, grew to like. A lot of them are, heading out of the door. Whether that's, John Jones, Conor McGregor, Khabib is obviously retired. So now he's up to that next wave of fighters coming up to really see who's going to be the one to really take that game and take it to the next level. But as for the fight last night, again, I really enjoyed it. Bryce Mitchell obviously ended up getting stopped in round 2. And I think a lot of people are happy to see Bryce Mitchell get knocked out. I think he's, someone that's obviously made a lot of, controversial comments. Many of them I obviously disagree with. That being said, he went in there and, he took his licks. And, it's never nice seeing someone get knocked out and get stopped. It's, I always say, anyone that steps, in that octagon, they really deserve maximum credit because it definitely is one of the most difficult sports in the world. So, very good performance from Silva. I think he was a big favorite going into that fight. And it was a very dominant performance. As for Bryce Mitchell, he's now got 4 losses. So where does he come back from that? Obviously, he lost in pretty, devastating fashion. So it will be interesting to see where he goes. Home main event, that was a fight I was really looking forward to. Michael Chandler, I know he doesn't have the best record, but always a very exciting fighter. Going against Paddy Pimblett, a fighter where I think a lot of people like Paddy. I think a lot of people do like him. However, I think a lot of people at the same time really feel like he's not proven. And he needed to really step up his competition. A fight against Michael Chandler. Chandler is obviously someone that's fought against the elite guys. So this was a real good test for Paddy Pimblett. And for me, he really passed that test in flying colors. His overall game I was very impressed with. And Michael Chandler, really didn't win a second of that fight. I think Paddy Pimblett used his size, used his range. I thought he boxed well. And I think he's actually very versatile, Paddy Pimblett. I think he was very good on the ground. And obviously that knee to the cheekbone of Michael Chandler was real devastating. And, as soon as that happened, really, Michael Chandler was in a world of trouble. And he eventually ended up getting stopped. I think the referee maybe could have stopped it a little bit earlier. So very good win for Paddy Pimblett. I know he's called out Oliveira and some other guys as well. So, he'll probably take that next step up. But very, very, very impressive performance. And one that, potentially could take him to that next level. As for Michael Chandler, I probably would like to see him retire now. I think he's a veteran, 38 years of age. Had a very good career, always been in exciting fights. But, when you're taking that much damage, when you're, getting to, 38, 39 years old, what are you really in the sport for? Do you want to be a gatekeeper for these guys coming up? Or, do you want to sail off into the sunset? Hopefully, he's done well with his, the money that he's earned, spend some time with his family and things like that. So I would like to see Michael Chandler call it a day again. I think he's had a fantastic career and he definitely earned his money last night. And obviously, main event, Volkanovski back with a good performance. Volkanovski going to be interesting to see where he goes moving forward. He is coming off back-to-back defeats against Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. However, those guys are really, the elite of the elite. So I still think that Volk is world level. Would be interesting to see where he goes from there. But as always, let me know what you guys think. Pretty short recap But just wanted to get my thoughts out there. Obviously, again, I am more of the boxing guy, but definitely getting more into UFC. So for any of you guys that are really into the UFC, who are some of your favorite fighters? And what did you think about the events last night? Again, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your guys' support. And I will see you guys on the next one.